This week on the Desert Tiger podcast, I hope that you guys are ready to spark up the fire because Daniel Wesley brought the beach music. What exactly does that mean? Of course, you guys know I'm going to go ahead and tell you very soon, but before we get there, there's a few things that I want to go ahead and do. And first off, one of those things is go and thank you guys, the listeners of the Desert Tiger podcast, for being so extremely patient with me this June, as I actually took the last 2 weeks off from releasing episodes to teach myself a few new things, learn a few new skills. What are some of those things, you might ask? Well, if you actually head on over to the Desert Tiger Entertainment YouTube page, you're going to go ahead and find a music video that I threw together. I found some clips from a band I was in a few years ago entitled Almost Alien. It was actually the band I was in before I started this podcast, before I broke my wrist, and we started this wonderful journey known as Desert Tiger. I threw together a music video from some live clips back in 2016 to a song of ours called Run. Like I said, you can go and find it on our YouTube channel. I also want to go ahead and thank those of you who have been hitting up our Spotify like crazy. The numbers have been going insane over on the Spotify. It has been our strongest month ever, and honestly, in fact, we are on pace right now to actually beat all of our months in Spotify combined. That's how strong this month of June has been on Spotify, so I am extremely thankful for that. And of course, it's been a while since we joined you, so I also want to go ahead and thank those of you who went and sent me some feedback for my conversation with singer-songwriter Troy Kokel. I had a great time chatting with Troy, and I was extremely happy to hear that feedback. Alright, so today, like I said, I hope that you guys are ready to spark the fire because my guest today, Daniel Wesley, has brought the beach music. And what does that mean? Well, beach music is Daniel Wesley's new EP that releases tomorrow. That is right, tomorrow, June the 21st, 2019. It is Daniel's first studio release in 4 years. It is also Daniel's first album to contain absolutely no electronic instrumentation. Something that you're going to hear from Daniel himself was not something that was intentional. It was something that just came natural in the studio process, something that just sort of came flowing, sort of as if it was written on a beach, hence beach music. So we spoke with Daniel all about the new EP, beach music, everything behind it, the feelings, the vibe, and of course 4 years is a long period of time in between albums. That's a long period of growth. So of course we're gonna find out what growth Daniel went through in order to reach this moment. And of course we're also going to be talking to Daniel about his upcoming show at the Commodore Ballroom in Vancouver, British Columbia, a site where he recorded a live album in 2017, something that we're also going to be speaking with Daniel about today. And I can't wait to dive into this with you. But of course, what would an episode of the DTP be without me playing some fantastic music for you before we go ahead and kick that off? And of course, the fantastic music and this episode are brought to you by you, the listeners of the DTP, and I love DTP.com because that is the best place where you can support the show, and it's also where you can go ahead and get yourself decked out with some sick DTP swag. Fire is the first single off of Beach Music, and it is an anthemic song celebrating the 420 mindset. Of course, you don't have to be of the mindset to enjoy the good vibes of the song, But if you are, may I suggest rolling one up and sparking up the fire?
Fire it up again. Fire it up again, my friend. Oh, fire it up again. Fire it up again, my friend. Oh, fire it up again. Fire it up again, my friend. Oh, fire it up again. Fire it up again, my friend. Some like reggae, some are punk rockers. I like both in the middle of the Rockies. Come and slow down, got to roll down. Make my soul run with the music. It makes me feel good. I don't need anything if you need medicine. Go traveling, you won't feel sad again. When I'm brown begging it, you feel so young again. Peru, Caracas, Brazil, and Mexico. I love them all, but the herb is illegal. Come to Canada, we like our cannabis. Oh, Canada, my. Fire it up again. Fire it up again, my friend. Oh, fire it up again. Fire it up again, my friend. Oh, some like reggae, some are punk rockers. I like both in the middle of the Rockies. Come and slow down, got to roll down. Make my soul run with the music. It makes me feel good. I don't need anything if you need medicine. Go traveling, you won't feel sad again. When I'm brown begging it, you feel so young again. Peru, Caracas, Brazil, and Mexico. I love them all, but the herb is illegal. Come to Canada, we like our cannabis. Oh, Canada, my. Fire it up again. Fire it up again, my friend. Oh, fire it up again. Fire it up again, my friend. Oh, fire it up again. Fire it up again, my friend. Oh, fire it up again. Fire it up again, my friend.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
And we are joined here on the DTP by Daniel Wesley. Recently released his latest single, something that I just went and enjoyed the lyrical interpretation of myself, and he's gearing up to release a new EP entitled Beach Music very soon. How is it going today, Daniel?
I'm really good. The sun is shining and the birds are chirping, so life is good.
You gotta love it when summer starts to finally break through.
Exactly.
And where are you enjoying the sun at this time? Where is Daniel Wesley located?
I live in Roberts Creek, British Columbia, in Canada. It's basically right above Vancouver on the west coast. So we're right on the Pacific Ocean, and we live a couple kilometers up the hill from the ocean, up in the mountains here, and we love it. We've been here for a few years and moved from the city that we were in Vancouver for 10 years. It's pretty awesome. We're really enjoying life up here.
When did you decide to make the move to a more natural living location?
Well, we were always kind of searching for something different, my wife and I, with our kids. Living in Vancouver has been pressingly more difficult to buy a place than no one could buy a home. None of my friends own homes. They all own apartments. And we had an apartment, and family grows, and it's just too expensive. We were thinking about different things we can do, and this is a 40-minute ferry ride from Vancouver. Kind of the best of both worlds. We can get into the city whenever we want, but we're kind of out here, and this is a place where a lot of people kind of come and vacation and dream about living. Mm-hmm. So we decided to make our dreams reality, and we are definitely 100% happy that we did that.
Oh, definitely a good decision by the sounds of it. More affordable, and I can only assume way more inspiring.
Yeah, we have 4.5 acres here, and it's just trees all the way around. There's a big pond in the backyard. And I remember when we were looking, I was like, really, we can trade our apartment in Vancouver for this? So I was like, let's do this, because we can all get an apartment again. And this is kind of where I worked on most of the new songs that we are releasing here. So.
All right, well, let's get into that. Your last studio release was actually back in 2015, entitled I Am Your Man, so about a 4-year period in between releases. What is the transition period between there? Because between moving and doing other things, I can only assume that you as an individual have also grown and your music has grown.
Yeah, I have another son now, so we got 2 kids. My first son, the oldest son, Finn's on the cover of I'm Your Man. It was the first one I put out independently since being on a label. Yeah, I worked really hard at it and loved it, and wrote lots of music after it. We even recorded another album, but it was just not really the direction that I wanted to head. So I kind of took my time, and we recorded an album called Live at the Commodore Ballroom, which is a fantastic venue in Vancouver. So we did a live album. Yeah, I actually went back, and I halfway done my electrical ticket in 2007. I quit to do music full time, and then I thought, if I don't go back and do this, I'll never do it. So I actually went back and put in 3 years of doing my electrical training and schooling, and as well as doing all the touring and stuff, and struggling family, and got my ticket. So that was kind of it. So then I basically, once I got the ticket, I quit that and just started work on new music. Because like you said, being that amount of time, I've never had that many years in between records. Usually I put one out every 2 years. I kind of had to figure out where I was at. So the album we had recorded, much more rock and roll. I really liked it, but it kind of wasn't really the statement that I wanted to make. And I had to kind of take a full another year of just kind of soaking up where I live and everything, and just having time and space to write music again. And I really did, and that's what beach music became.
You said the album that you had was a lot more rock and roll. So what was the approach on this album? Was it a little more stripped down? Because the title being beach music, is it more like an acoustic sound, more like something you would find on a beach?
Definitely. I mean, I wrote all these songs on the acoustic guitar. No one would probably even really notice, but we'd actually never put any electric guitars on this album. It's all acoustic guitars.
Oh, wow.
And but sound like softer. There's definitely some mellow songs, but it doesn't sound like, no one would really know if I hadn't said anything. So we were kind of 90% through the recording, and I was like, we haven't brought out the electric guitars yet, and we were like, there's really no need to. So it just kind of felt like a real natural vibe, and it fit with the way that we recorded the album and just the way that the songs came out. I just kind of thought, this is a really good way of fitting it all together.
So it wasn't even a focused effort to not use the electric instrumentation?
No, I don't really ever think things through ahead of time when it comes to anything, to be honest. I kind of just shoot from the hip and just go with what my heart says. And, when I'm writing music, I'm not really ever thinking about an album or whatever, not until I kind of have, a handful of songs that I'm like, okay, this is the beginning of something, that I ever really, think about it a little bit. But I'm never sitting down being like, I got to write this kind of song, or I got to write that, now I need a fast song or something like that, It just kind of write, and whatever it is, it is.
Okay, so at what point do you feel that you had finally taken in the living location and the energy of everything around you enough that you are starting to write the style of music that is beach music?
I just kind of took things slow, and I have a studio here that there's a wood-burning fire in it, and it was the fall, and I would just go in there every day or every second day for a few hours and just light a fire and see what would happen. And I would just kind of do that and just kind of relax and just not really think about writing an album or anything, It didn't take very long for me to kind of get in that mindset, but I just kind of, just kept chugging along and letting the songs come. And even when I thought I had an album, I thought I'd write some more, and then a few more other songs came, and the album's going to change, So at first it was a little more slower, a little more like singer-songwriter, and then these more beachy songs came. I went to Maui. My cousin lives and wrote a couple songs there. And went to Tofino, and that's where the first single, Fire, was written. It was just on the beach. We just had a surf in Tofino, BC. It's pretty much one of the only places you can surf in Western Canada. I just sat there and it just happened. So, songs like that usually just kind of fall out of the sky for me, occur. And it's like, you gotta be ready to get that shit down, and like make sure you don't forget it, because it can go by pretty quickly. So
let's talk about that first single off of Beach Music. It dropped on 4/19, a day right before what most people in a certain culture know as 420, and this song is definitely an anthem for those people, one of those people that I am definitely a part of. So how do you, you wrote the song on a beach, so how do you make sure that you're actually remembering the song once you're walking back from the shore and getting it into a studio?
Well, that's pretty much the only good thing that iPhones are for, is the little recording device that you can just push record while you're doing shit, and then it'll be there. That really saves my butt every time. Yeah, I just had the chorus mostly to fire it up again, and I came back to my buddy's place who was helping move in, and I was kind of humming it, and he's like, "Oh, what's that?" I was like, "Oh, just the song I wrote." He's like, "Oh, okay, sounds cool." And I came home and I wrote the verses. I had the melody, but I didn't have the lyrics for the verses, and I kind of just started spitballing things down, and it kind of just headed towards, the subject matter of legalization of marijuana, and it just kind of happened. I don't indulge that much myself anymore, but I think I might have at the time when I was writing it. I have a few songs that people really like, and they kind of reference that. And I thought, okay, well, I'll if this is where it's going, then I will take a giant swing at it and make it exactly what people would probably like to hear. So it wasn't until I got to like third base that I was like, okay, I'm going to go and complete this cycle of the song. So yeah, and it's a really obviously important thing for people here in Canada and across the world that a lot of people use cannabis and marijuana as a tool, just like people use alcohol and cigarettes, So I've always been a supporter of that for sure.
All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and take a quick music break here. And before we go ahead and give another track from Beach Music a spin, I just want to go ahead and let you know that this music break, as well as this episode, is brought to you by ilovedtp.com and all of you, the wonderful Desert Tiger listeners that support it, because ilovedtp.com is the place where you go and grab yourself the latest, the greatest, the hottest in Desert Tiger merch. It's where you grab it, you buy it, you get it shipped to you with a nice handwritten thank you note from me personally, and you go, you wear the shirt, you wear the hat, you wear it everywhere you go, you put the sticker on your car, and you show everyone how much you support the show. You show everyone you love the DTP, and they're all going to be asking you, where did you get it? Because it is such a hot one. Just like you, and just like this next song.
Hot one, like a lit cigarette with a quick step. And don't forget to pick the booze up in the afternoon, so in the evening, have some time to give me that cool sweat, cool sweat, cool sweat down my neck. She give me that cool sweat when I get home to her. My baby, you see me in all the ways I am. You're my lover and my very best friend. Show our children that love begins and ends with us. She throw the ace down and clean up the pot. She roll the dice hard and take up the block. It's so easy, cause she don't complain when it's time's up. And she won the game. That cool sweat, cool sweat, cool sweat down my neck. She give me that cool sweat when I get home to her. My baby, you see me in all the ways I am. You're my lover and my very best friend. Show our children that love begins and ends with us. Hot one, like a lit cigarette with a quick step. And don't forget to pick the booze up in the afternoon, so in the evening, have some time to give me that cool sweat, cool sweat, cool sweat down my neck. She give me that cool sweat when I get home to her. My baby, you see me in all the ways I am. You're my lover and my very best friend. Show our children that love begins and ends with us. You see me in all the ways that I am. You're my lover and my very best friend. Show our children that love begins and ends with us.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
It came out just in time for the first legal 420. Have you used any of the legal cannabis available, like any of the stores yet, since you said that you yourself aren't really
Yeah.
much of a user?
No, I have. I used to quite a bit, but I've got more things going on, and it's more of like a time and place thing for me than like a way of life. But yeah, no, I totally have, and I was just actually on Quadra Island here in BC for 420, and those guys have a dispensary, and they gave me some, and I like to hand it away to friends and enjoy it every now and then. And the other day we had some friends over, and we had a nice little time, and yeah, like I said, it's kind of just time and place for me.
Okay, I was gonna ask if you had any opinions on the way that they run things.
Well, I mean, a lot of dispensaries aren't actually completely licensed the way they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'd be a good thing for everyone if they did get the license, but I don't know all the ins and outs and the yin and the yangs of it all, so I don't have a huge opinion, but I just think if you're going to run a business, you should try and do things. There shouldn't be a two-way street for everyone, you know. You should try and, do it the way you're supposed to be doing it. Yeah, I mean, they're everywhere now. I'm sure they are in, New York too, where it's just, I don't know, these cannabis stores are everywhere. So
They pop up here, there, and everywhere. It seems to be the new thing, the new culture, and I mean, it's beautiful that people are starting to accept it so that people don't really have to act like it's a terrible act.
No. I mean, I never had fun going to drug dealers, and I mean, sometimes my friends would sell pot and stuff, and that would be a lot easier to acquire it. But, you know, I remember growing up and having to go to God knows whose place, and, you know, just weird, tweaky individuals sometimes, you know. It's like when my kids are at the age of that's the decision they want to make, I'd rather them be able to go to a store or something like that and feel safe doing it than feeling like a criminal having to deal with some, you know, tweaker.
Yeah, wait, so for like the half an hour that he's actually focused enough to be able to do his job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's definitely, I'm glad to see that that's where we're headed. It just makes more sense. It's funny, the things that you would think that would make the most sense are usually the things that are the most difficult to get done.
Definitely. Well, I mean, there's a lot of hoops to jump through in regards to getting businesses legalized and everything else, and I mean, there's always other industry interests involved with it too, so you never know what's going on behind closed doors with these things.
No, not at all. I don't, at least.
All right, so Beach Music is slated for release coming up on June 21st, and you're going to be playing the Commodore Ballroom once again here on June 22nd. How excited are you to play that room once again? Of course, that being the location of your live album in 2017. A fantastic listen, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm so lucky to have that venue where I call home base. Yeah, it's world renowned. I mean, its capacity is 1,000 people. One of the most magical venues. It's set up perfectly. The sound is so good. Sight lines are amazing. It's right downtown Vancouver. Yeah, I've played there so many times now. It's kind of a bit of a blur, all the shows now. I just feel lucky when I get to go down there and play. And the older I get, you know, the longer I do this, the more I'm like, is this the last time? You know, that I'm going to be able to do this? I have no idea, you know. I just kind of take it day by day and just keep going, you know. It's pretty special when you get to go there and have all those people show up and sing along with your songs and play some good music. So, yeah, I'm definitely pumped to play some of the new songs, too. We played a few shows lately and played some of the new material, and it really kind of changes the set in a way better way. Some of the older stuff I really like, but it's kind of nice to get some fresh blood in there. But they seem to really be strong, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Strong.
Definitely.
So
the response is very strong towards the new material.
Yeah, it has been. I'm pretty pumped.
I'm glad to hear that. I am very glad to hear that.
My dog is feeding a rope here. That's a really nice rope. She's got to stop doing that. Go ahead.
No worries at all. So, all right, Beach Music, like I said, it drops on June 21st. Is there going to be any new singles that are going to be coming along with it? Or are you just excited to get this new musical child out into the world?
Yeah, no, we've got a single coming out, I believe on the 21st, called Hot One. And, yeah, it's like an upbeat, pretty fun song, good summertime song. Yeah, that's the second single, so stay tuned.
All right, awesome. How many tracks are on the EP?
It's a five-song EP, and we kind of thought we'd split it into two releases, whether kind of release half the album first, the more summertimey songs, and the other half is they're still upbeat, happy songs, but they're a little more on the acoustic, slower vibe. So in the fall, we'll release it all together as one, which is how I originally kind of thought. But this day and age, people release EPs and kind of spread things out. And you know, I'm not too old. I'm still able to kind of play with the young kids. So I thought, why don't we try that? You know, so
why not?
That's what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any tours planned for the summer or the fall once the album is out?
Yeah, we've got some dates kind of sprinkled here and there in the summer, and then in the fall we'll be doing a bunch of dates, as many as I can get. So I'm just waiting to see what it all looks like. But I know that my agents are working on it right now. So.
All right. Well, hopefully they can get something secured and announced right away. Hopefully, and across Canada. I mean, that would be very, very exciting to see. I know for sure.
Yeah, I know that's going to happen. So.
All right. Well, that makes me excited. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today, Daniel. I know that you've got a puppy in the background that you need to keep an eye on.
He's good. He's trying to get this rope out of my hands now. He found these beautiful nautical ropes here, and he's trying to rip them apart. So, but yeah, thank you so much for your time too. I had a great time chatting, and I hope your listeners enjoyed and check out their music. You'll like it.
I hope they will as well.
Well, cheers. Have a great day.
All right, you guys, you know what time it is. It's time to thank Daniel Wesley for joining me here on this episode of the DTP to talk all about his new album, Beach Music, which drops tomorrow, June the 21st of 2019. And if you're listening to this episode on any date after June the 21st, 2019, Beach Music is already out. Hurry up, open up your streaming service, get to the album, and start listening to it ASAP. I also want to take a moment to thank the team over at Strut Entertainment for once again assisting and bringing you, the audience of the Desert Tiger podcast, another fantastic conversation with a motivated, driven, passionate, creative individual chasing their dreams. And of course, you guys know that they have helped us out in the past. Maybe you want to go ahead and check out some of those interviews if you haven't yet. There's more than 70 incredible episodes in our backlog for you to go ahead and check out if you haven't already. If you're new to the show, maybe you want to go ahead and consider hitting the subscribe or follow button on whatever service you listen on. And whether you're new or you're returning, I am very thankful for you joining us here on today's episode of the Desert Tiger podcast. And of course, if you want to take your dedication to the show to that next level, the place that you're going to want to go to visit is ilovedtp.com, because that is where you, that's right, you are going to go and find yourself the freshest Desert Tiger merch that you can rep the show everywhere that you go. You can let all your friends know that the DTP is the place to go. That is right. And if you go ahead and make an order on ilovedtp.com, of course, you're going to go and get that lovely handwritten thank you note from yours truly, thanking you for supporting the growth of the show. All right, next week on the DTP, I am joined by Honey Badger Marlene Hibbs. Marlene Hibbs is biking from Kamloops, British Columbia, all the way to Parliament in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and she is taking her message of how the medical industry is failing those with mental illnesses inside Canada and what we can do to change that. Marlene is going to be joining me next week to discuss what inspired her to take this incredible trek across Canada for this very important cause, and I cannot wait for you to join me with that episode next week. Until then, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful time. Peace and love, my friends. Peace and love.